Hi, Gregory Giannakolo here. This is Lammy. See, he has a little sticker on here. It says joy, Christmassy, all the joy and happiness. And just leads me into talking about joy and happiness as an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are upbeat people, aren't they? If you're an entrepreneur reading this, you're upbeat, you generally have a good vision, you're excited about something you're going to do, and it's an exciting thing to be an entrepreneur, to have a business, to have a growing business, or to have a business that's already quite big. One thing we don't plan for, we plan for a lot of things. We have insurance, we have business plans, we have employees that we give plans to, we set out our vision, but one thing we don't make a plan for, because we don't want to think about it, is what if things don't go well? What do we do as entrepreneurs? What do you do when things don't go according to this great plan you made? What happens when things go bump in a night and you get really discouraged? I'm not talking about necessarily a mental health thing. I'm talking about plain old discouragement that comes along when you tried so hard, when maybe you put $1,000 into advertising and you didn't get any results. When you paid for a course, it turned out to be lousy. When you hired someone you had great hope in and it's just not working out. This is why I say don't hire relatives. And so we don't make a plan for these things, and really we should. And getting discouraged should be something we anticipate. I mean, we anticipate that not all advertising is going to work out. We anticipate, to some extent, that not everyone we hire is going to work out. And yet we don't anticipate when it doesn't work out for ourselves. What do? Do we have someone we can talk to? So I would just encourage you, as you start a business, that you have someone that you can really be, maybe not someone in the business, maybe not someone in your family, but have a plan for someone you can talk things over with that isn't too close to you, that can give you outside perspective, and that can kind of cheer you up. Because really, we get so discouraged when you're in the midst of it that sometimes it does seem like the end of the world. It seems like there's no way out of this, it's a big black hole, and you get so discouraged that really, I mean, there's been times I felt suicidal, I was so discouraged. And that's not uncommon. There's a lot of suicides in entrepreneur world. We only read about the big successes, and that's what we like to read about. But there's a lot of deep, dark depression that comes up when things don't work out. When you feel like you're letting people down. You've either got, maybe you've got investors, you've got family, you've told people how great this idea is. You might even got a write-up in a magazine. The whole world, you think, is focused on you and your success, and you're a standout, and a lot of people are relying on you. You know, that's not really the truth, but that's how it feels. And when it feels that way, and then you can't complete what you believe other people are expecting of you, or maybe you're expecting of yourself, you just get really, you can get really down. Don't let that happen to you. That happened to my son. He had such great hopes, and really he had $400,000 cash. I mean, cash available. And he got so discouraged worrying about things that had not happened yet. He was worried about things that could happen in the next 4 or 5 months. And I didn't really know that he was feeling that bad about it. I was kind of working with him. And when he wrote me the day before and said, things aren't working, man, I don't know. I just feel like I'm writing checks I can't cash. I can't keep my promises. I said, no problem. I'll work it out with you. Let's get together tomorrow. I never saw him after I got that text message, but it's not as bad as you think it is. It really isn't. I mean, what if you lost everything? You're still around? You still have the same brain? You still have the same passion for the things you like? Yeah, maybe you have to make some adjustments. You need people to give you outside perspective so that you can say, you know what? You're right. They should say to you, you know, your idea is wrong. The ads you're running are wrong. Your product is not priced correctly, and once you figure out what the problem is, that's separately from figuring out how to fix it. You know, sometimes people give you advice and they try to fix it at the same time, and sometimes they can do that if you have a good mentor or a business partner or somebody. But sometimes you just need someone to say, you know what? Those products they don't really resonate with me. I'm not an expert. They don't look right, or your pricing seems too high, or maybe it's too low, or maybe those ads aren't getting to the people. You know, these prods that get you to think about what the real problem could be. Because the problem is maybe not you, could be you. It could really, maybe you're the problem. But the problem could be something else. It could be fixable. And you know what, if it's not fixable, then maybe the next thing to look at is a pivot. You know, you're making cat food and you decide you should be making dog food. Maybe you shouldn't be making any of those foods. Maybe you're going down a path of this expensive luggage that you're creating, and you're finding out it's really hard to compete in that market, and so you're going to make less expensive, or you're only going to make camera cases. These are just wild examples. You can have a pivot. That doesn't mean that everything you did is lost, but you pivot slightly and do something a little different. One of the ones I know, in fact, I talked to these guys, the guys who started Twitter first started a company called Odeo, O-D-E-O. And I contacted him when I first saw it because I'm a wise guy. And I said, just so you realize that Odeo, the way it looks like, sounds like odio in Spanish means I hate. So you might consider changing your name, just throwing it out there in case you haven't considered it. And they said, thanks, we're not sure we're going ahead with the project, which totally surprised me because the fanfare was that they had raised, I think, $5 or $10 million. But you know what? Now they may have been real discouraged, I don't know them, but they stopped the company, thought about what they might do instead, gave the rest of the money back to the investors, which must have been embarrassing. They said they were embarrassed. And those investors respected them so much that they were honest with them that they invested again when they started Twitter. And so the guys from Odeo started Twitter. They had the Can Odeo. A lot of fanfare was about it, but they had to, take a deep breath, say, you know what, it's not working out. It's a little bit embarrassing, but we'll let you know if we're going to work on something else. And most of the investors came back with them again, even though they had lost some on the first round. So it's rarely as bad as you think it is. It's almost never as bad as you think it is. And it's almost never so catastrophic that you can't close it down, shut it down, go do something else. And never take, although it feels like it, in the middle of the night when it sounds really bad, when you're last person left at the office, or your last person left and you're just thinking, how am I going to get out of this? It does seem like you're never going to get out of it. But that's only temporary. So whatever you do, you don't ever get to the spot where you're considering a permanent solution to something which is really a temporary problem. So I just encourage you, and all the rah-rah, and I'm with you, man, believe me, I'm the best guy to encourage you. I'm totally optimistic, absolutely. And yet, I've had to walk through some dark rivers myself of doubt and worrying about the consequences. But here I am, it worked out better than ever, and you go forward. And during that time, you are not the best judge of what you should do. You've got all this pressure on you, this cloudiness, this darkness, that just worry, what am I going to do? How am I going to, you have such despair. And that's natural for the situation. But it's also natural that you have some way to get out of it. At least you need to have that. You need some kind of a second parachute. You need a secret trapdoor. You need some way and some people to talk to so you're not boxed in like that. So that's just my encouragement amidst all the rah-rah, and let's get going and let's conquer the world and let's make a unicorn and all that stuff. Still, you need a little bit of, it's not plan B. You just need something that you have, like a secret, I don't know, something like a ripcord or something, that when things aren't going, look, when you're doing business and sales aren't going well, you talk to your advertising or marketing people and you say, what can we do? And then when the products are failing or too many are coming back broken, you figure, how am I going to do this? How am I going to fix this problem? But we don't plan for how to fix things that affect us and us only, where we really feel like we're just boxed in and we can't get out of it. So I just encourage you to, early on, as you start to think, if I hope it doesn't happen, but if things are slipping, if you're starting to feel a little discouraged, don't wait until you get super discouraged. Too many people say, yeah, I know it's really rough right now, but I'll get through it. And you normally do. 99% of the time you get through it. Things are rough, but we're going to figure it out. I hope you do, and normally you do. But the problem is if you wait until you get too discouraged, then you really don't have the mental clarity to pull yourself out of it like you might have first go around. And so you need someone to count on. So I just encourage you to find somebody early on to talk to. There's even professional ones you can do on an app now. You don't always want to put this on the internet. Let's face it. Even if it's in a closed group, you don't want to just share it. You don't want to maybe talk to your marketing guy about it. You don't want to talk to you might even not want to talk to your partner or your spouse about it. I understand. But there are ways out of it. All I'm saying is, I can't fix this for you, but I will say, please, just consider that when things start to look dark, don't think you have to figure it all out by yourself. And get someone to help you. Maybe it's just some little bit of encouragement you need. Maybe you need a dinner, a stick of gum, some good encouragement. That might be all you need. Might be more than that. But let's plan for all the rah-rah moments, and let's have kind of a secret plan for the times when things aren't so rosy, that we don't want to blurb everything out to the world, okay? Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.